Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight in Our News, health officials urging Bahamians to be cautious this Easter holiday weekend. A hydroponic farm looking to change the game. Plus, Marcellus Hall is in Miami for the Marlins season opener. Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Here's what's making news tonight. The Ministry of Health has confirmed an additional 28 new COVID-19 cases, 12 on New Providence, 8 on Grand Bahama, 6 on Eleuthera, and 1 on Abaco. 33 cases remain in hospital with 3 in the intensive care unit. The ministry has also confirmed the death of a 74-year-old Bimini man as COVID-related. And with a busy Easter holiday weekend now upon us, health officials are urging Bahamians to be cautious. Director of the government's Infectious Diseases Program, Dr. Nakia Forbes, says while many may have plans to have family gatherings and hit the beach, there is a steady increase in cases occurring, and everyone should be careful.
Close up and crowds. That's more likely to happen indoors, but it can happen outdoors too. Think if you go to a gathering, everyone is wearing their mask, but there's food and there's drink. You go to the table or the bar where that is being served, you take down your mask, you have a lot of people gathering, we talk because that's how we are. We like to spend time with each other. COVID can also spread. And so we all have to think about how we can protect ourselves and others if we don't want there to be a problem with COVID spreading rapidly in country. So we all have to follow those measures.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has refuted rumors of a weekend lockdown and encouraged people to enjoy their weekend and even the beach. But he did warn against gatherings and urged everyone to follow guidelines and adhere to restrictions. Forbes said that's of major importance.
So we all have to follow those measures as we look forward to getting to the holiday weekends with gatherings, parties, with no mask wearing. Indoors or outdoors, COVID will spread. So we need to remember what we can do to try and prevent that from happening.
Forbes says with a slight increase in cases, health officials are noticing certain similarities to last year's second wave regarding the age groups.
There's always a mixture, but it's more in the people under 50. Just like in the second wave and third wave in the United States, it was more younger persons that have active social life. So remember to protect yourself when you're moving about.
Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says the country's tourism industry is making a slow rebound. He says after a year of little to no travel, the pent-up demand among those eager to visit an island destination is beginning to pay off for the Bahamas.
Everybody's telling me there's just huge amounts of pent-up demand to travel. People have been locked in their homes, cold, dreary, depressing environments for well over a year now. And savings has gone up dramatically. They just got nothing to spend their money on. So now they're ready to go on a vacation. So we feel that things will progressively improve through the end of the year. And then, of course, 2022, we project an even better year.
But de Aguilar says a key factor in that rebound is vaccination. He says as more Bahamians get vaccinated, then visitors will feel more comfortable with coming to the country.
As more Americans get vaccinated, as more Canadians get vaccinated, as more UK citizens get vaccinated, as more Bahamians get vaccinated. Right. This is going to bode well for the destination.
Police Commissioner Paul Rhodes says he will be one of hundreds of people who will aim to head to the beach this holiday weekend. And he is warning beachgoers not to breach COVID protocols.
And behave yourself. That's my message that I would like to say to people. I want to go to the beach myself. I haven't felt that ocean water now in a year. But I'm going to feel it this weekend, hopefully.
Rhodes' comments came after photos and videos of large weekend crowds gathered on Cabbage Beach on Paradise Island drew significant criticism from the public. He said police were called to the beach that day and a number of people were cited. While he did not provide an exact figure, he did say this.
Yeah, we're going to be out and about this weekend, and police will be out in full force. I've seen people circulating on social media already saying the police are going to be out. Travel with your ID, make sure your car is insured, and if you don't have to go out, don't go out. Well, thanks. Last week they took my whole operation order and put it out. And so, that was intentional. I didn't put an operation order out, but yes, I'm telling you that we're going to be out and about.
A hydroponic container farm company, the first of its kind in the Bahamas, is looking to change the game, growing fresh crops with an aim of addressing the country's food security concerns.
This one is Soli and Liantha.
The first 2 sunflowers grown at Eden Farms in full blossom. The hydroponic farm is changing the game, connecting people to fresh, hyper-local crops to achieve food security and sustainable living.
Each of these containers that we have here on site produces about 5 acres worth of produce. And so right in this container, we have the capacity to grow up to about 1,300 crops on a weekly basis. And we're distributing to a few local restaurants right now on a consistent basis, as well as some interest from hotels. So the market is very plush. Obviously, again, we have a large import bill, and so we've been just targeting a lot of those restaurants in particular that love the freshness of our crops.
The farming company boasts of producing the highest quality produce 365 days a year. Eden Farms uses 3 40-foot shipping containers, uses solar power for the grow lights, and expends 99% less water than a traditional farm. Their specialty, growing greens.
Right here we have, this is a Salanova type lettuce. This is just one type of lettuce that we have, and this is the subtype red oak leaf. So Salanova is a lettuce that grows very well in hydroponic vertical farming systems. This is one of my favorites. It's actually very crispy. You can break it, and when you break it in half, it sounds like it crunches. This is also one of my favorite garnishes for our salad mixes. This is red vein sorrel. So it packs a lot of color and flavor as well, and it also packs that extra punch.
Letitia Gibson is the farm manager and a young Bahamian who studied plant biology at the University of the West Indies.
All the nutrients are supplied to the plants via water. So water is recycled throughout the farm. We have our irrigation lines at the top of each channel. So we have water emitters that send water down those irrigation lines. So the plants get a consistent amount of water every night. We have 2 zones in this farm. This is the main grow zone where our plants are transplanted. They stay here for about 2 to 4 weeks, and then we harvest. We have 4 rows here, so we'll be harvesting a consistent amount of crops every week. And we have over here the seedling area where we actually start the process in terms of seeding, and we actually grow some microgreens as well. So this is one of our microgreen varieties. So this is a red acre cabbage.
The vegetables are all grown vertically and subjected to a climate-controlled environment.
Why we only use red and blue light, outside you have visible light, and what the plants would do is they would absorb the red and blue light out of that visible light spectrum. In here, we can increase light efficiency by just utilizing those 2 wavelengths of light for the plants to actually absorb and take into their cells to aid in photosynthesis. So we're, using less money to pay for the entire light spectrum because we're just utilizing two of these lights. Especially with the setup of the farm, with the plants facing their own light panel, and they also have more space to grow. So there's less competition, there's more airflow, and they have consistent access to light energy.
Founder and CEO Lincoln Deal says Eden Farms was established in 2013 as a research project to dive into the agriculture industry. Fast forward years later, and a connection with Braun Limited and freight farmers blossomed into something Deal says he hopes will benefit the entire country greatly.
Our engineering team, Carlos Palacios and team, they're actually about 18 feet bolted inside the ground right now. And so, we built with a major hurricane in mind. So these containers are in the ground, and again, through the year, 365 days, we're able to grow, whether it's sunshine, whether it's rain, whether there's bad weather, we're still able to grow and provide our locals, provide our restaurants, our vendors with fresh crops.
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted just about everyone, especially those employed in the tourism sector, like private chef Nicoya Lightbourne. Last year, she not only lost her job at a Hopper Island hotel, but also her deli. Despite the tough times, Lightbourne has bounced back. Jasmine Brown has her inspiring story in this report.
Meet Chef Koya Lightbourne, a woman who is determined not to let tough times hold her back. Just a few months ago, Chef Koya was one of thousands of people that found themselves out of work during the global COVID-19 pandemic.
The pandemic was work life for me. It didn't break my bank, but I like to say it broke my heart a little bit.
Just a year ago, Chef Koya had a well-paying job at a luxury Harbor Island hotel. She also owned a deli on the island.
The hotels closed, and so those redundancies came rolling through Harbor Island, and I was one of them, and it wasn't the only one. And I was lucky enough that we got paid our amazing packages from our company, so that was that. And then also I was the owner of the Dunmore Deli on Harbor Island, and COVID kind of put paid to that as well. So those two things, like my dream exec chef job and owning and running my own business, kind of sort of came to a stop at the same time.
Chef Koya says her only saving grace at the time was the fact that she had a third job working as a personal chef for a local Harbor Island resident. But she says after the first lockdown last year, she decided to move back to New Providence. She says the day after she landed, the country headed into its second lockdown that the government imposed due to the now infamous second wave of coronavirus. The veteran chef says it gave her time to take a breather and plot her next move.
I came to Nassau, took a breather, sighed, and then it picked right back up again with yacht work, private work, consulting, all that stuff. So I've spent most of it pivoting. I've done pop-ups at Tinfurl just to keep my brain going, to get my brand out there, because I've been living on the island for so long.
For the last several months, Chef Koya says she has not slowed down and has now returned to her roots as a private chef for the yachting community.
There is another niche in our hospitality industry that if you have that particular skill set, you should pivot into it or look at pivoting into it, and that's maritime life. That is what we call salt life, and working on yachts and their adjacent private homes and their private homeowners. Some yachts are charter, some yachts are privately based, and it's a different pace for each. However, right now there is a shortage of chefs of Bahamian chefs specifically, to take jobs on 100-foot plus boats that are in the country, and they're looking for chefs, they're looking for stewards, they're looking for deckhands.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Still to come, an environmental group keeping a close eye on Equinor's cleanup efforts, plus how Mount Tabor is doing Easter. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
In an effort to continue to keep a close eye on the cleanup efforts of that Equinor oil spill in East Grand Bahama, Waterkeeper Bahamas says it has sent away samples for testing. Waterkeeper Bahamas Executive Director Rashima Ingram.
There have been a series of visits out at East Grand Bahama near the spill that occurred during Hurricane Dorian as a result of some damaged tanks at the Equinor property. The reason why we were out there was to get a general sense of the impact and also to make a determination of the type of reporting that we wanted to do as Waterkeepers Bahamas. So immediately it was spill response. And so now we have been collecting a series of samples, water samples, and we recently were able to receive a permit from the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection to collect soil samples as well, to have those soil samples assessed. So we have really been putting together a very comprehensive report.
Equinor executives met with the Attorney General and the Environment Minister on March 18th and presented a video that they say detailed the impact Monster Storm Dorian had on their oil storage and transshipment facilities. Dorian, which was the strongest storm on record to hit the Bahamas, blew the roofs off several of Equinor's storage tanks, distributing oil across the acreage of property and into neighboring forest and sea. Equinor has reportedly invested more than $200 million and employed 250 Grand Bahama residents to conduct environmental cleanup and remediation at the facility and also in the surrounding forestry land over the past year. Ingram says Waterkeeper Bahamas is determined to ensure Equinor keeps its promise.
The work that we're doing is not only based on emotions. We're also putting some factual data together because we want to provide the department, the company, as well as the government with sound advice and recommendations on what should really be happening to involve community stakeholders like Waterkeepers Bahamas in the monitoring process as well as the reporting process. I know that there is an oil spill contingency committee as well who has been doing some work, but because we're local, it's advantageous of those committees and the government to really use stakeholders who are on the ground and willing and prepared to do the work.
Well, after being forced to worship at home last year, Bahamians are able to once again enjoy Easter weekend in church. Over at Mount Tabor Church in Pinewood Gardens, Senior Pastor Neil Ellis says the transition over the past year has been smooth and will continue into this busy weekend for the church.
Last year was a strange year. And but I think people still had an appreciation for what the season is really all about. I didn't hear too many complaints because we were able to stay online and do what we needed to do. And I think with the team we had, they did an effective job in maintaining the sanctity of the season in spite of the climatic conditions that we were experiencing. This year, of course, we're still dealing with this social distancing issue, so we still have to have multiple services to facilitate as many people as we can.
But Ellis says multiple services doesn't mean any experience is of lesser value. He says he's glad to see many so eager to get back into the church building, especially for Easter. But he said they will be safe and cautious.
Here at Mount Tabor, we have a good team, and they're up to the challenge. We've had our Palm Sunday services this past Sunday, and everything else was virtual for the week. So we are doing a hybrid weekend. Some things in-house, some things virtual. On Good Friday, we'll be back in the house, but we'll have a virtual Good Friday music, worship, and arts presentation online, and we'll be back in the house all day on Sunday. It is important that we maintain our protocols that are in place, and for the most part, they've been doing fairly well since we've been back in the sanctuary since, I think, September.
When our news comes back from the break, the Anglican bishop shares the significance of Good Friday. Plus, our Marcellus Hall is in Miami to watch Bahamian Jazz Chisholm and the Marlins. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. As many observe today as Good Friday, some may not know the true meaning. Anglican Bishop Leish Boyd explaining the importance of this day to the Christian faith.
Good Friday is a day when we focus on the crucifixion and death of Jesus. We do not celebrate Good Friday. We observe Good Friday. It is called Good Friday because the benefits that flow from it are good. You know, trial on trumped-up charges, conviction, humiliation, brutalization, crucifixion, suffering, those things aren't good. But it's called Good Friday because the benefits which flow from this day are good.
According to the Anglican bishop, while he is sure that many will turn out to church services this Easter Sunday, he believes many have strayed away from observing the true reason for days like Good Friday and Easter Sunday.
We observe many holidays that people just don't appreciate the religious significance of or the religious foundation of. That's one thing. And then on the other hand, there's the fact that, we live in a society that's more and more secular, where religion and faith are less central. More of our homes than before do not focus on Christian values and Christian upbringing and, inculcating God into the life of children. I mean, that's just the reality. And so in that respect, yes, we have drifted away from the true significance of a lot of our special days.
Boyd said it's a reality that proves that the work of the church is nowhere near its completion. And while church services will undoubtedly look and feel much different this Easter weekend, the Anglican Church will have multiple services to ensure that those who come out can be adequately accommodated while adhering to COVID-19 safety protocols.
Yes, we certainly are. Many of our churches are putting on additional services. So if they normally have two, they're adding a third or a fourth, because one service cannot hold everybody. But of course, the good thing about the services being short is that allows you to have multiple services in one AM period, or in one day's time.
Well, despite the pandemic, Change Ministries International is looking to keep the Easter spirit alive with a drive-through giveaway. The event will be held from 8 a.m. to 10 on Saturday at the church in the Seagrape Shopping Plaza. According to Pastor Carmen Cornish, the church will be able to accommodate between 300 to 500 people.
And because of the pandemic, this Saturday we've shifted gears and we'll be giving a drive-through giveaway to the kids, which will include Easter eggs, candies, a lot of goodies in the bags for the kids. And in addition to that, we're going to do a water giveaway, gallons of water, and we're going to serve free breakfast. We understand that during this season, Jesus washed feet is all about serving, and then we look at it from the perspective of God giving his best. So we want to reach out into the community and give and do our best as a church.
Before the pandemic, Cornish said the tradition was to throw a party and Easter egg hunt for the children. And while noting that this is a season of remembrance and Thanksgiving, Cornish said the aim is to show a sense of gratitude to the community.
It's a diversity of candies, and then we have toys in the bag. We have blow pops, we have juice, we have chips in the bag. So just lots of goodies, and then definitely we have those Easter eggs. And the Easter eggs are filled with jelly beans, a mixture of candies.
Well, Bahamian Jazz Chisholm debuting at second base as he and the Florida Marlins begins the 2021 season. Marcellus Hall is in Miami and has more.
Well, welcome to Our Sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. It is Friday, Good Friday, as a matter of fact, and we are in Miami, Florida, courtesy of our friends over at Insurance Management, none of which this would be possible without their help, and certainly they, along with the Bahamas Baseball Association, making it possible for us to be here to see Jazz Chisholm's debut with the Miami Marlins, which took place last night. Speaking of which, the Marlins going down 1-0 in a tough game against Tampa Bay, a pitcher's duel. Our guy Jazz went 0 for 3, but still the Bahamas Baseball Association, very proud of his progress, spoke to Secretary General Teddy Sweeting last night. He, along with President Sam Rogers Sr., here to check it out, to give Jazz support, and they were very pleased. Teddy says, make sure they were in place to see history in the making. Bahamian Jazz Chisholm stepping onto the field to start the season for the Miami Marlins. Chisholm getting the nod at second base after winning the position with a battle with Isan Diaz in spring training. As far as the ballgame is concerned, Chisholm would have 3 at-bats, finished up 0 for 3 on the night, but made contact at all 3 of his sessions at the plate, looking pretty solid and comfortable in the process. Looks as if his season is going to go pretty well. Marlins unfortunately come up on the losing end of the ballgame. They go down 1-0 in a pitcher's duel, set for Game 2 tonight, when they take on that very same Tampa Bay Marlins squad.
You know what? It's good to be here. It's good to be a part of this opening and celebration with Jazz Chisholm. From the association standpoint, we're really excited for what's happening in baseball, and Jazz is just that catalyst now to continue the growth and development that we have been doing for such a long time. He is one of the products of Freedom Farm, and he came up through us from 2003. And now we're seeing the fruits of our labors and the support of all these young men. So it's exciting. So we had to be here to make sure we witness what is transpiring.
And that's your check on sports here on this Friday. Once again, sports brought to you here in Miami, courtesy of our friends at Insurance Management. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Marcellus. The Latter-day Saints 191st Conference streaming live right here on our TV. The details after this break.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This Easter Sunday, the Bahamas will join over 70 countries who will have the opportunity to access the 191st Church of the Latter-day Saints General Conference. According to media consultant Cheryl Joaquin Alexander, viewers will be encouraged to reconnect with the Savior and Redeemer, Jesus Christ.
So these messages will be messages of hope, love, and peace, and will help persons to be able to learn how to better be prepared for circumstances that will happen in the future. The message is for us to restart, to reboot, to recharge, and to reconnect with our Savior, Jesus Christ, who is our ultimate protector in these times.
According to the church's newsroom, more people than ever are tuning into the General Conference through technology. The conference will stream live from Salt Lake City, Utah, and will be broadcasted on Sunday, April 4th, right here on our TV from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.
The Tabernacle Choir will be a part of that presentation, the first half an hour, and then the concluding 2 hours. Persons will be blessed by the talks by our leaders, who I said will give us messages of peace and hope to help us to get through.
A lot of times when you're going through turmoil, you're going through a hard time, and when you can hear a fresh voice, something different. And that's why I encourage each and every person out there in the Bahamas. If you want a life-changing message, please tune in.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News tonight on this Good Friday. We will see you right back here tomorrow night for Our News Weekend with George Urbain. Have a good evening, Bahamas.